New Orleans is a paradox built on a graveyard. A city where the dead are buried above ground, where houses float on sinking soil, and where every sip of vampire tea might come with a side of eternal friendship. This isn't just a place. It's a seance in brick and wrought iron, and everyone's invited. Where voodoo queens hold court. Crumbling above a city that itself can barely hold together, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is a necropolis of sun-bleached marble and whispered intentions. The tombs do not rest quietly, they sigh and murmur beneath the weight of flowers, offerings, and centuries of desperation. At the center of it all lies the tomb of Marie Laveau, the high priestess of 19th century voodoo. Her mausoleum is less a grave and more a petition box. Thousands come each year. They leave behind the triple X, scrawled, chalked, etched, and a coin. Sometimes it's a silver dollar, sometimes a metro token. Always, there is a wish. Some say they walk away richer. A few say they walk away marked. In 1999, a tourist from Minnesota reportedly carved her wish directly into the stone. Days later, her body was found floating in the Mississippi, skin carved with dozens of bleeding X's. No culprit. No motive. Just one camera angle capturing her smiling, ecstatic, outside the tomb a few nights before. Geologists studying the tomb have noted microvibrations in the marble. They blame underground rivers, maybe even shifting aquifers. But psychics? They say it's Marie laughing, thrilled by the absurdity of science attempting to dissect faith. And then there's the heat. Even on cool days, her tomb radiates warmth. As though something, or someone, never left. This is New Orleans, where belief is stitched into the very stones, where legend doesn't need proof to be fact. The sinking city, a dance with disaster. Some cities float. New Orleans slowly drowns. 2 inches. That's how much the city subsides each year. Faster than Venice. More dramatic than Jakarta, Indonesia. It's not just water. It's entropy, carved into clay. The ground here doesn't just sink, it collapses. One cause. The dead. Below the surface, old wooden caskets buckle under the pressure of time and rising groundwater. As they implode, they drag the earth with them, creating small sinkholes called grave mouths. Engineers call it subsurface failure. Locals call it the corpse problem. Then there's the vampire effect, the overpumping of groundwater. Centuries of well usage have left New Orleans like a wrung-out sponge. The soil contracts, the buildings buckle. Entire neighborhoods seem to lean toward the water, as if drawn by something ancestral. Not all respond with concrete and engineering. In the French Quarter, some homeowners hire voodoo surveyors. Yes, that's a thing. They bless the foundations, burn herbs beneath the joists. One even claimed his house rises an inch every Halloween. Locals smile and say it's Marie again. A housewarming gift from beyond. Vampire cafés and the blood tea pact. A bell tinkles as you enter the Boutique du Vampire, tucked between a candle shop and a fortune teller's parlor. The smell. Hibiscus, clove, and something darker. The cafe is candlelit, with velvet chairs and antique mirrors that don't always reflect what you expect. The rouge, a crimson blend of beet, hibiscus, and rosehip. Served with a handwritten friendship contract. Sign it, and it renews every 13 years, unless revoked in blood. Coffin-aged coffee, beans stored in replica 1800s caskets. Described by the owner as tasting like resurrection. Some say there's a back room. You need a key. You need to ask right. And if you do, the drink isn't metaphorical anymore. Regulars whisper about legally sourced blood from willing donors. A ritual, not a feast. An act of reverence, not horror. It's about remembering what we owe the dead, says one server. They built this city. They just haven't stopped living in it. In New Orleans, every ritual has a mirror in the past. Every dark fact lives beside a jazz tune. The jazz funeral never ends. Imagine this, a second-line parade, filmed in time-lapse. Umbrellas twirl like stars. Brass horns flash like lightning bugs. The music fades into mist at dawn, but you still feel the pulse. Here, funerals begin with weeping and end with dancing. The dead are escorted with celebration, their journey a groove rather than a dirge. The tradition started with African and Haitian roots, fused with jazz and sorrow, born of necessity and turned into art. It is a performance of resilience, a refusal to let death be silent. Even now, tourists and natives alike gather for strangers' send-offs. Not out of disrespect, but reverence. Because in New Orleans, death is not the end. It's the beginning of the next verse. The alleys that hum. There are places in the French Quarter where phones die for no reason. Where compasses lose their direction. Where shadows linger longer than the things that cast them. These alleyways are narrow, choked with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and cigar smoke. Cats slink between wrought iron railings. And sometimes, people disappear. Not forever. Just for a few hours. They come back changed. Ask around. Someone will tell you about the girl who vanished at 2 a.m., last seen walking past Pirates Alley. She returned the next day speaking an archaic form of Creole. Her eyes were wrong, said her mother. Not evil. Just older. Explore these stories, and you'll find no shortage of guides willing to lead you down the rabbit hole. But beware, some of them don't work for tour companies. They work for the city. Or the ones who never left it. When architecture whispers. New Orleans is famous for its architecture, but the buildings are not just beautiful. They are haunted. Shotgun houses where slaves once lived now echo with footsteps. Mansions built on plantations still bear scorch marks that no fireman recalls fighting. Even the street lamps flicker not with electricity, but memory. They say bricks absorb sorrow. Wrought iron holds a scream longer than wood. Here, balconies don't just hold ferns, they cradle secrets. The most ornate of these homes often have names. And those names have stories. Maison Rouge. Built in 1857. 5 owners, all of whom vanished without record. La Petite Grille. Owned by a silent film star whose voice never came back after a seance. These are not facts. These are dark facts. In New Orleans, that's all the same. What deal will you make? You don't just visit New Orleans. You're invited. The city watches. The city tests. Leave an offering in the wrong cemetery, and your luggage won't follow. Fail to tip a street violinist, and you may hear them playing in your dreams, for weeks. But play along. Respect the rituals. Sip the rouge and smile at the ghost in the corner. Then the city opens its arms. It whispers. What deal will you make to stay forever? Because this place doesn't care about your disbelief. It only cares if you're listening. Some say New Orleans is alive. They're wrong. It's not alive. It never died. Come for the ghosts. Stay because the city won't let you go. Explore it if you dare. But remember, every dotted line here is written in blood.